we're back, and we have a newcomer to the channel, Travis, wearing the Panda rash guard on the left, and he's going up against Mike, the Asian Persuasion, on the right. Both of these men are purple belts, but you're going to see why size certainly matters no matter what sport you're doing. Mike starts with a sitting up guard, and I always recommend that you start sitting up if you're going to be doing no gi, because without the gi, you need to make points of contact, otherwise they're going to move freely around your guard. Travis pushes the leg away with his left arm, then he moves right into side control and grabs a body lock. The body lock is exceptionally powerful in jiu-jitsu because it can actually beat shrimping. If you can keep your arms locked together around their core, you can beat their legs and it's going to be extremely tough for them to move around. So the advice to beat it is definitely to fight the hands if you're looking to escape any of these bad positions. If they can keep your waist locked down, you're not going to move enough and they're going to continue to dictate the pace of the round. Travis has kept constant contact against Mike's ribs so Mike can't turn into him. Then he can work on the opposite side and he starts attacking the arm. He looks for the Americana and he gets a quick tap once he brings the elbow down to the ribs and adds a little bit of turn to it. We've seen Mike on the channel plenty of times before and usually he doesn't get submitted that easily, so you can see the size certainly matters. They say about every 20 to 25 pounds is like going up another belt rank depending on who you're competing against. So Travis weighing about 250 pounds and Mike about 160 pounds, this is a very astute difference between the two. Travis looks for a cross pick with his left arm and then he switches sides so he can pass Mike's guard with a little bit of style. Mike counters by going for the leg, and by attacking the leg he can elevate some of this weight off of him. Travis is able to regain his base by posting on his knees. Then he's going to pass towards his right, but Mike does a nice job pushing against him and trying to use his frames. However, when you have somebody that large on top of you, they're going to crush those frames and move right into side control. As these two chill for a moment, let's do my question of the day. My question is, how often does your gym do seminars? We just had Hodger Gracie out for a seminar at our gym and it went quite well. So let's hear how often you guys do seminars. I'm also trying to get into the seminar space myself, so if any of you guys have gyms that want seminars to come to you, let me know and we can hopefully work something out. One thing that Hodger talked about at the seminar was controlling their spine with your ribs or your lat. Travis is doing just that to poor Mikey here. An attack that he was talking about is that you can go and look for the Kimura. We can see here that Travis's right arm is already scooping underneath Mike's right arm as well. He does a nice job keeping pressure against Mike, so as Mike tries to turn out of here, knowing the submission is coming, he's able to keep him pinned to the mat. Then he brings his knees over the head, he uses his core to lift for the Kimura, and he gets a nice and easy finish by turning it out to the side. That's two submissions for Travis already over Mike, the first one being an Americana and the second one being a Kimura. Both of them were done quite well, but the size certainly made a difference. Mike wasn't able to retain his guard at all as Travis started moving around him. If you find yourself in a similar position, getting dominated on the bottom, it's time to work some wrestling. There's no rule that says you have to start on your butt. If one guy's starting on top and he's standing, you can stand up too, and if you have the better takedowns or at least a little bit of knowledge of it, you may be able to set yourself up for a better position once the match takes place on the ground. Travis tried to hop around Mike's guard, but finally Mike was able to keep him inside the guard. This gives Mike a much better opportunity, and hopefully Travis won't be able to pass as easily as they had before. Mike's doing a nice job pulling his wrist down, but Travis is looking for his own attack. Travis is actually trying to do a no-gi Ezekiel choke inside the guard. This is going to be a really hard submission to pull off. Anytime that Mike wants to try and fight the Ezekiel, he can always bring his legs out towards butterfly and then push him away. Travis wants to keep his arms over Mike's so he can set up the Ezekiel, but you have to know that by doing this, you're giving him two free underhooks. Of course, with Travis's size, the underhooks don't mean nearly as much, but still not the best practice if you're trying to work within somebody's closed guard. Remember, all of those rolls that we see with Brock, he always grabs the underhook and then he can set up some nasty sweeps. The same thing would happen to poor Travis here if he rolled with Brock. Now I believe Travis started to realize that this no-gi Ezekiel choke is just not going to work, so he finally lets go of it and he decides to posture up. Mike sees this as an opportunity to sit up and he tries to go for the guillotine, but Travis does a nice job pulling his head out. You have to make sure you can control the posture the entire time. If somebody's in no-gi and they're on top of you and you can't control their posture, they're going to freely move around your guard, and this roll has already been proof of that. Mike does a nice job of scooting in and he's establishing a shin guard. This will keep him attached to Travis and hopefully he can stop him from passing his guard. Travis, however, pushes him back down to the mat, and once he has Mike flat on his back, now he can go back to the standing position and rework his pass. It's a great idea to do what Travis did, which was to disengage their guard so you can openly move and set up your own attacks. Mike is going again for the guillotine, and this is when you have to realize that position is more important than submission. He has a nice setup for this guillotine and he even has the elbow high, but he can't connect his hands enough for this choke to matter. Instead, Travis is put right back into side control and now Mike's in a little bit of trouble. Mike decides to put Travis in the leg scissor position, and this is strong and it's great for elevating their weight off of you, but unfortunately for Mike, he's not going to be able to get anything back because this brings us to the end of the round. If you appreciate the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all of my viewers and patrons.